There are mornings when the house feels heavier than usual, when you wake before the sun, sit on the edge of the bed, and for a brief moment, you wonder where the years have gone. The body moves slower, the knees resist, and the mirror shows a face that time has softened. Yet deep inside, something stirs, a quiet wish to feel light again, to feel alive again. We've been told that aging is a slow decline, that it's the end of strength and spontaneity. But what if that isn't true? What if the body isn't betraying you? It's simply waiting for you to call it back to life. For too long, we've confused aging with absence of purpose, of movement, of curiosity. We were never meant to stop living fully after 60, but many of us do. Not because the flame goes out, but because we stop feeding it. The truth is simple and freeing. What steals our vitality is rarely age itself. It's what we stop doing because of age. The human body is astonishingly responsive. It listens, it adapts, it remembers. It just needs a reason to keep going. Dr. Shigaki Hinohara, who lived beyond 105 years, often said that energy doesn't come from the body, but from purpose. He used to remind his patients, don't be crazy about accumulating material things. Remember, you don't know when your number is up, and you can't take it with you. What you can take, though, is your spark. The joy of still having something to give, something to learn, something to love. That's what keeps the blood warm and the heart curious. Dr. Andrew Weil, one of the pioneers of integrative medicine, sees aging differently. He says it's not a disease but a skill that can be trained, nourished, and renewed. He believes vitality isn't an accident of youth, it's a practice of awareness. It's in the choices we make each morning, in the food we prepare with patience, in the walk we decide to take instead of the chair we sink into. The body wants to live. It just needs to be invited. That's what this journey is about. The vitality method. Not a pill, not a supplement, not a new trend. It's a set of overlooked daily decisions that quietly reawaken strength, memory, and joy. Decisions that help us rebuild the dialogue between body, mind, and purpose. The dialogue that time, grief, and fatigue have tried to silence. You don't need to move mountains. You just need to remember that the mountain inside you is still there. Over the next few moments, we'll travel through 4 essential zones of vitality, 4 areas of life that shape how you feel, how you move, and how you think, often without you noticing. Energy, strength, digestion, mind. Each one connected to the other like threads of the same fabric. You can regain control of them step by step, breath by breath, beginning now. This isn't a promise of youth. It's an invitation to return to yourself, to listen to the signals your body whispers each morning, to trust that the small, steady gestures still hold power. A stretch, a glass of water, a handwritten note, a meal made with love. They are the quiet language of vitality, the same one that carried our grandparents through long, full lives. So take a deep breath. Let the air reach every corner of you. You are not running out of time. You are entering a wiser rhythm. And somewhere within that rhythm, your vitality is waiting. Let's find it together. There is a moment, often invisible, when slowing down becomes a habit instead of a choice. It begins quietly. The morning walk skipped because of the chill. The gardening postponed because the knees ache. The nap that turns into an entire afternoon. Rest is important, but what the body truly craves is not stillness. It's renewal. The confusion between rest and repair is one of aging's most silent thieves. We think slowing down protects us, but sometimes it simply turns off the very systems that keep us alive and strong. When we were young, we moved without thinking. The body stretched, climbed, and carried without hesitation. Those movements weren't just acts of strength, they were signals to every cell. Stay awake, keep working. Inside us, tiny power plants called mitochondria responded to those messages. They are the heart of our energy production, invisible but essential, turning food and oxygen into life itself. When we move less, those power plants shrink. They start to flicker, like lanterns left without oil. And when that happens, fatigue appears, not as a sign of old age, but as a signal that the flame has dimmed from neglect. Yet there are places in the world where elders glow with quiet endurance. In Okinawa, Japan, a region where people often live past 100 with grace, the rhythm of life is different. After each meal, the elders don't collapse into chairs or lie down for a nap. They sweep a small corner of the yard, stretch their arms toward the sky, or rotate their feet slowly while seated. 2 minutes, that's all. But in those 2 minutes, they remind their bodies that life continues to circulate. Their movement becomes gratitude, a conversation with time itself. Imagine if between your morning tea and your evening meal, you too could keep that inner current flowing, not through strain or exercise routines, but through simple awakenings. Standing up and walking across the room before breakfast, moving your arms gently in the afternoon light, turning your shoulders as dinner cooks. Just 90 seconds, 3 small awakenings scattered across the day. It's not the effort that matters, it's the intention. Every small act of movement tells your cells, I'm still here, keep burning. There is an old truth worth remembering. Energy isn't stored, it's summoned. It doesn't sit waiting in a corner of the body, ready when called. It must be created moment by moment, breath by breath. Even a body that has grown tired still remembers how to create energy. The rhythm of life is never lost, it simply waits for an invitation. So when fatigue visits, don't see it as defeat. See it as the body's way of whispering that it misses your partnership. The flame hasn't gone out, it only needs air. The air of movement, of presence, of small gestures done with awareness. Because vitality doesn't vanish with time. It leaks away slowly when we stop summoning it. And perhaps after a few days of remembering this, you'll notice something subtle. The step becomes lighter, the morning feels brighter. The body, though aged, begins to hum again, like an old violin finally tuned after years of silence. That is the beginning of renewal, the first quiet sign that your vitality is returning home. If these words are reminding you that energy can return at any age, stay with us. Subscribe, and let's keep rediscovering how simple habits can keep your body and spirit awake. There comes a time when the body no longer answers as quickly as the mind remembers. The arms that once lifted groceries with ease feel softer now. The legs that climbed stairs without thought hesitate halfway up. The jar on the kitchen shelf suddenly feels like a test of endurance. It's not weakness, it's disconnection. What we often call loss of strength is, in truth, a fading conversation between the brain and the muscles. The wires are still there, but the signals have grown faint from disuse. After 60, many notice this subtle quieting. It's not the muscle itself that fails first, it's the message. The brain, once used to sending commands of action and response, begins to fall silent when we stop asking it to move. Without that ongoing dialogue, the communication weakens, like an old friendship that slowly fades without letters or visits. The muscles don't forget how to move, they simply wait for the brain to call their name again. Science explains it through the nervous system. Millions of tiny connections carrying electric whispers to every corner of the body. But beneath that, science is something beautifully human, a reminder that strength is not only physical, it's relational. When you stretch your hand, lift your heel, or turn your wrist, you are reintroducing yourself to your own body. You are saying, I still remember you. And in that recognition, a spark returns. Researchers at Stanford once observed something remarkable. Elderly patients who practiced small, simple movements, like tapping their fingers or flexing their ankles while watching television, recovered faster after surgeries than those who remained still. It wasn't about the size of the movement, it was about the message. These small gestures told the body, we are still connected. Even while resting, their bodies remembered motion, and that memory became medicine. Before getting out of bed in the morning, imagine the quiet ritual of reawakening your body's conversation. The soft squeezing of the hands, the gentle twist of a towel, the slow circles of the ankles. Not exercise, but reintroduction. These movements carry no strain, no rush. They simply remind the brain that the world still exists beneath the skin. With time, these signals grow stronger. The hand steadies the cup again, the step finds its rhythm, the breath deepens with ease. Strength doesn't begin in the biceps, it begins in the signals. Muscles are only the final expression of a relationship that starts deep within the nervous system, between the spark of intention and the fiber of action. To feel strong again is not to rebuild the body from scratch, it's to rekindle that dialogue, to bring back the trust between thought and motion. There is a quiet miracle in rediscovering this link. It's not about lifting more, running farther, or proving endurance. It's about regaining the harmony that age and stillness once interrupted. When the brain speaks and the muscles answer, even in the smallest ways, life feels whole again. The body stands a little taller. The hands find their certainty. And in that renewed conversation, we rediscover not just movement, but belonging. There is a quiet wisdom in the way the body speaks through the stomach. Long before a doctor's diagnosis, the body whispers through subtle discomforts, a heaviness after eating, the slow rhythm of digestion, a bloated belly that feels as though it carries more than food. For many older adults, these small disturbances become background noise, accepted as part of aging. Yet within those sensations lies a forgotten truth. The gut is not merely a tube for nourishment. It is the command center of vitality, emotion, and even memory. Every bite of food tells a story to the trillions of tiny companions living within us, our gut bacteria. They are unseen but not silent. They produce messengers that reach the brain and influence how we feel, think, and move. When this inner ecosystem thrives, clarity rises, sleep deepens, and strength finds its foundation. When it falters, fatigue, confusion, and sadness quietly creep in. The connection is intimate. The gut and brain are bound together by a cord of communication that never sleeps. Modern research now reveals what ancient traditions have long practiced. Certain bacteria in the intestines create neurotransmitters, dopamine for motivation, serotonin for calm, and GABA for balance. These substances are not confined to the brain. They are brewed deep within the gut, influenced by the foods we eat and the rhythms we keep. When the inner garden becomes barren, starved by processed foods, sugar, or long stretches of inactivity, the messages between gut and mind grow distorted. We begin to feel slower, not just in the body but in spirit. Across the seas, in Icaria, Greece, there is an island where time moves differently. The elders there live long and well, but not because of modern medicine or complex diets. Their secret lies in their rituals, simple, intentional acts that honor digestion as a sacred part of living. After meals, they sip warm teas made from fennel and mint. They say it is not for digestion, but to feel light. In those 3 words rests an entire philosophy. Health is not the absence of disease, but the presence of ease. Imagine that warmth spreading through the stomach each morning, a gentle infusion of ginger, fennel, and lemon. Not a treatment, but a quiet ritual of remembrance, a way of saying to the body, I am listening. The heat awakens the gut's rhythm, the aroma clears the mind, and the body feels lighter before the day even begins. This simple act carries more meaning than any medicine. It is a conversation with the self, an acknowledgement that the inner world deserves as much attention as the outer one. When digestion flows, everything else follows. The muscles receive their nourishment, the brain its clarity, the heart its calm. It's as if the body exhales a long-held tension, finally free to move, to think, to live. There is an old saying among herbalists, when the gut is clear, the mind feels free. Those words contain not just physiology, but poetry, because freedom in its purest form is the return of flow, of energy, of thought, of spirit. The revival of the gut is not an act of vanity or a quest for youth. It's a return to balance, to the harmony that keeps the fire of life burning. To tend to the gut is to tend to the whole person, to nurture the soil from which vitality grows. And in doing so, the lightness once thought lost begins to return. The steps feel steadier, the appetite for living rekindles, and even the simplest meals once again taste of joy. There are days when the world feels dimmer than it used to, not darker, just less alive. The newspaper blurs a little, conversations fade faster, and even the things that once brought joy feel distant as though wrapped in fog. Many believe this is simply the passage of age, that the mind slows and the spark dulls, as though there's nothing left to awaken. But that isn't entirely true. The brain, even at 80 or 90, is still capable of growth, of new connections, of wonder. It never truly stops. It only waits to be nourished. Inside the brain, billions of neurons stretch like trees in a forest, reaching for one another. Each time we experience something new, hear a story, learn a word, recall a memory, a small branch forms, connecting to another. This is how vitality grows inside the mind, through novelty, precision, and emotion. But when the days all look the same, when the routine becomes too quiet, those branches stop reaching. The mind doesn't decay from age, it slows from sameness. The fear of feeling slower, more forgetful, or emotionally flat is a silent companion for many. Yet beneath that fear lies the extraordinary truth that the brain craves stimulation not through pressure, but through meaning. What awakens it is not complexity, but curiosity. A question, a color, a melody, a memory, these are the sparks that keep the brain alive. They may seem small, but they are the seeds of presence, of awareness, of renewal. In Japan, elders have a beautiful tradition that embodies this idea. Many keep small, handwritten journals, not as a record of tasks or worries, but as a daily ritual of mindfulness. Each line, written slowly, is an act of anchoring in the moment. The purpose is not to remember the day, but to live it twice, once through experience and again through reflection. That simple act of writing keeps the mind precise, the emotions tender, the presence awake. It's a reminder that attention itself is a form of prayer. Imagine setting aside a few minutes after breakfast, when the light is still gentle and the air carries the scent of the morning. The table is quiet, the cup still warm. In that small silence, a single thought arises, something you're curious about, something that pulls at your attention. You write it down, one sentence, no more. Then you spend a few moments exploring it, perhaps by reading, perhaps by remembering. That small ritual doesn't demand energy, it gives it. It stirs the sleeping corners of the mind. A sparked mind pulls the body forward. When curiosity returns, posture changes. The eyes brighten. The hands move with intention again. There is an invisible thread between thought and vitality. One lifts the other. Many who rediscover learning late in life speak of it not as discipline, but as rediscovery. They feel younger, not because the body transformed, but because meaning did. To feel alive again, one doesn't need to chase grand achievements or distant dreams. The reawakening begins quietly, with a word, a memory, a question. The mind, like the soil of a neglected garden, waits patiently for the first drop of rain. And when it comes, when curiosity touches it, it blooms again. Each small discovery becomes proof that time has not defeated you. It has only paused, waiting for your attention to guide it home. Vitality doesn't fade with age, it changes form. It's not about youth or speed, but presence, the quiet strength to keep creating life within each day. Dr. Hinohara once said, "To stay healthy, always take the stairs and carry your own things." He meant more than movement, he meant purpose. Dr. Well reminds us that real aging is resilience, not decline. Vitality isn't hidden in medicine or miracles. It lives in what we repeat, in every small gesture that keeps us awake to living. Even now, energy waits within you, ready to answer when you remember. It was never gone, only forgotten.